great. All go, no wait. Champion, no debate. First place, go play. Humble.
What's good? It's your boy, Mr. Humble Greatness in the building. And as always, I have a special guest with me. So you know I'm with my boy.
I am Bakari Washington.
And I got a really good friend of mine, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
I'm Daniel Carlos.
All right, man.
Hold on. We got to get a proper introduction.
My bad.
The one and the only.
The one and the only Daniel Carlos is in the building with us, man. So, man, I'm excited about this conversation, man. My boy Daniel, we worked together at a car lot at Honda here in Wichita, Kansas. So, man, we're just going to pick his brain, man. We got a lot of wisdom in the room right now. So
I don't know about all that.
I'm excited. So, Daniel, man, just for the people who don't know, man, just go ahead and we're going to start off not with what you do right now, but we're going to start off basically with the beginning of your life, man. How you started off, because right now you're a car salesman at Honda still, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk about, I have you here, man, because you're one of the top earners, right?
You could say that.
Okay.
Yeah, you could say that.
One of the top guys, man. When we were together at Honda, man, this dude sold like 40 cars in a month. So if you're a car salesman, you're talking about numbers, you're talking about hustle, you're talking about grind, you're talking about putting up numbers, consistent numbers as well. Always being at the top chart, man. That's why I have this guy here. So if you want to learn some stuff, man, we're going to pick his brain right now.
Right now. So let me ask you this, Daniel. Why the car business?
You know, it all started when I graduated from college. I wanted to do something in finance. My degree is in finance and my minor's in economics, and I wanted to do something in sales. So tried being an FA. Didn't try. I applied to be an FA, and it didn't work out. And then I needed sales experience. So got into the car industry and started working at Mitsubishi here at Honda way back. But it's a different company now. But I hung out with some buddies, and they told me, hey, come out to Honda, try it out, see if you'll like it. And then been there 2 years and 10 months now and haven't really looked back since. So.
Okay. So we're going to scoot that story back a little bit, because you said you got a degree in finance. Where did you go to college at?
So I went to Wichita State. Well, I started off at Cali Community College, got my associates.
Okay.
Because it was a little bit
Cali's
cheaper.
a 2-year, right?
Yeah, Cali's the 2 years. So I got my associates, and it's a lot cheaper. Definitely would recommend going to community college versus university starting your 2 years. So did that, and then
did you know what you wanted to do? Like, did you go there because you were like, I want to get a finance degree, or did you just go there for just general eds?
So I went to Cali Community just knowing that I wanted to get my gen eds, but I always wanted to do something in business. And then when I went to Wichita State, I just kind of honed in. I said, I'm going to get my finance degree. Want to do some finance?
Okay.
So
I
do. Do I use my finance degree? Not really. Unless I'm helping out people trying to figure out their car payments, it's super easy for me. But yeah, I
understand that. So you go to Cali to get the GEs.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to Wichita State, figure out that we want to be in finance, right? So we get the finance degree. So then what happens after the finance degree? Is it the car business right after that?
No. So I wanted to become a financial advisor originally. So what ended up happening is I needed to get some sales experience, and got hired on. Somebody at church recommended this gentleman. He was a GM at a store at Mitsubishi.
What church, if you don't mind me asking?
I go to New Spring.
Okay, shout out to New Spring.
So I ended up getting connected with him. Super cool guy. He ends up hiring me on, and was there for about 6-7 months. And then somebody told me come to Honda. And I was just selling used cars, and I thought new cars would be pretty cool. So I went over there, applied at Honda, got hired on. So it's been there 2 years, 10 months. Yeah.
And started killing it. All right, let me tell you a story about Daniel. Daniel comes in, right? Because I've already been there for a while. He comes in, and literally the first thing that comes out of this dude's mouth is, I'm going to be the best. Straight up. He's like, I'm going to be the best. Like, I don't care what you guys are talking about. I'm going to be number one. So I was like, whatever, right? Whatever. This new guy comes in. You know how it is. And so, man, he starts studying hard. Because at Honda, we had different models and stuff, and you have to study, and you got to present the car, you got to know everything. And Daniel's like on it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay. So I seen his hustle a little bit. And then so the next day he comes in, I'm like, hey man, how you doing? He's like, man, I'm just trying to be the best. And it was that conversation for like a week. But every day, damn, how you, man, I'm trying to be the best, man. And he's over here studying and stuff. And I'm like, so one day he comes up to the lunchroom upstairs. And, man, we actually sit down. We have lunch together and we talk a little bit. And I was like, man, you keep saying you want to be the best, man, but you got to beat this dude named Stephen Bishop. Like, because Stephen was the best.
Yeah, Stephen was the best. He still is the best.
Right? So I'm like, man, I mean, if you're serious about this, man, that's who you need to talk to. So, man, after I tell him that information, probably like a few days later, Stephen calls me and it's like, hey, man, I just had lunch with your boy Daniel. And I was like, oh, for real? Because usually when you give somebody something, they just kind of pass it off. You know what I'm saying? Or you're like, hey, you need to do this if you want to get to this level. They're like, whatever. I'll do it my own way.
Right.
He went and got the information. And I was like, man, after he talked with Steven, it was just a different Daniel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to come and you want to do all this? Yeah. But once you understand the blueprint, right? Yeah. Not only that, but I know that Steven, he has a extremely strong spiritual side to him too. So that's what I felt like you needed to experience. Because all the grind and the hustle, that's cool, right? But there has to be a different connection for when you actually really, really care about who you're dealing with and the people and stuff like that. Because then, I don't know, your steps are just a little bit different. You know, your process is just a little bit different, right? So that's what happened, man. He got the information. And after he got the information, it's game over.
I call that a TB mindset. Tom Brady mindset.
Come on, man. We got to be number one. Got to be the best.
You ain't even got to be number one, you know, because it starts off, what was Tom? A low draft pick, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But what did he show? Work ethic, consistency, never gave up.
Yep.
Was studying the game, and it shows you. So that's what I was getting from it. Like, hey, dude came through the door hungry. He said, I'm coming to challenge the top. Like, that's how I am too. I'm hungry like that. I don't care how long you've been there. I'm coming with that mindset. So that's a lot of respect, bro. Pound that up.
I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, man, that's dope, man. That's dope. So, so let me ask you this. Where does that come from? Because when you said I wanted to go to college and a finance degree and then now we're doing all of this, does that come from like your background? Does that come from your family? Does that come, like, where have you seen that done at? So you're like, I want that.
So as far as getting my degree, my mom always wanted me to go to college.
What does your mom do, if you don't mind me asking?
So she owns a small bridal store here in town. It's called La Sorpresa. So if you're ever looking for a dress, go hit her up.
Let's go.
But yeah, it just she always wanted me to go to college, and then I have a second family, and they always wanted me to go to college. So that's where the college thing happened. Which is, and my mom's from Mexico, so she's an immigrant. So
how long has she been in the States, if you don't mind me asking?
She's been in the States for a while now, like over 30 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So it's not like freshly. So I was born here, luckily, and so I'm good as far as papers. But yeah, she came over here, the struggle, and she was like, I'm sending all my kids. I'm making sure my kids go to college.
Yeah, see, come on.
But then I had a huge mentor in my life. His name's Chris Hernandez. He's been like a second.
Shout out to Chris Hernandez.
He's been, you know, people think I have a good work ethic. I mean, I don't even have a quarter of what he has. That dude, he has a sick work ethic. So when people are asking me like, oh, Daniel, like, how do you just keep going? Like, how do you, like, I never seen it. I was like, because I had the blueprint from my dad. Like, that dude's just a monster when it comes to work.
Wow.
His work ethic is, you can't match it. You're never gonna see anything like it.
So what does he do, man? Tell me about this dude. Tell me a little bit about this dude. What's up?
So he's a financial advisor. Yeah.
Okay, got you.
And that's why I want to kind of follow.
I understand
in his footsteps, but you know, I just had a different path in front of me and got into the car industry and been there and yeah,
that's dope, man. So Chris Hernandez, right? What does he do right now?
So he's still a financial advisor.
He is, okay.
Yeah, he's been doing that like 8 or 10 years now. Yeah.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, and then when I talk about his work ethic, like where'd he get it from? He got it from his grandma Anita, and he's always like, you think I work hard? You should have seen Grandma Anita. She was a beast. So, and I think it just kind of trickled down. But when people tell me like, where do I get it from? I get it from, you know, my dad.
That's awesome. But also, man, you can see it, but you still got to take responsibility for it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, man, I see them doing all these great things, but I don't know if I want to work that hard. You know what I mean? So well, actually, everybody at this table, right? We all feed off of each other. So it's one of those things where you see it and you're like, I want that. Not only that, but you believe in yourself enough that it's attainable. Because a lot of people, I feel like they're like, that's cool that he's doing all that, but I can't. I mean, that's good for him. He can, but I really can't. You know what I mean? So in order to just take that responsibility, man, and come in and be top. Every month a top dog, a fighter. Because, you know, in the car, if you don't understand the car business, you can literally sell 1,000 cars in a month and then you're back down to zero the next month.
The next month you start all over. You know, and Joe Flack, I mean, he's one of my coworkers.
Shout out to Joe, man.
He's a monster too. I mean, he beats me all the time too. So me and him go toe to toe. I mean, but Joe's like up here, and then there's Daniel. You know, I'm just right underneath him, so I can't. You know, I'm not number one, but I do have the record
top
for the
dog,
40.
Man. Yeah, come on, man. 40 cars in a month. That's crazy. I think the most I did was 21, and I'll never forget that month because I was busy, bro.
Yeah.
Like I literally went home the end of the month and I was just mentally and physically just exhausted, you know, because that's a lot of hours too, man. That's like bell to bell, like every day, probably.
Yeah. It was crazy.
So, man, that's awesome though. So let me ask you this. So what you've done great things in the car business, right? You have a finance degree. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, so I have 2 little brothers, a little sister, 2 older sisters, and then I have like what I call my second family.
You gotta slow down.
Dang,
go back again. Hold on, what? 2 younger, hold on, 2 more at the top.
So we got
to go in order.
Yeah. Order. Do that one more time. Sorry, because that went over my head.
So I have 2 little brothers.
Okay.
They're twins, and then I have a little sister, Gabriel Emmanuel, and then Natalie.
Okay.
And then I have 2 older sisters, which is Jasmine and Esmeralda. And then I have a second family, which I call them they're like my brothers and sisters. And one's Caleb, and then the other one is Michaela Hernandez. So really super close with them. We've been best friends since we were kids, and that's
awesome.
That's Chris Hernandez's kids. And
got you. Okay.
And that's why I call him my dad, because he's been just a huge mentor, part of my life.
Yeah, I understand.
Gina Hernandez is my mom, and then
Okay, man. So I feel like you have a lot of eyes on you. You know what I mean? Like you're excelling at where you're at. So I feel like there's a lot of people looking at you. Does anybody else, like the kids, do they want to be in the car business?
No. So Gabriel's doing his own thing. He's doing landscaping. He's a pretty good landscaper.
And how old is Gabriel?
He's 18. Yeah.
Hey,
okay.
Shout out to Gabriel.
So Gabriel's 18 and owns his own landscaping business.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this. Does he own his own landscaping business because he sees your work ethic?
No, so he was naturally born with it. So my dad, Martin Carlos, before he passed away, they were like inseparable. They were always together.
Gotcha.
So my dad did landscaping on the side. It wasn't like his full-time thing, but he did it. And my little brother was always with him. Like they were together. They were inseparable. Like he
soaking up the knowledge. Come on.
He like came home from school and it's like, it's time to go hang out with dad. Like, so when he passed away, it was a huge hit for him and huge hit for everyone. And he was like, man, I just want to. I think it just helps him remind himself of dad.
Yeah, the moments.
Those moments. So I think that's why he likes.
Because that's a lot of time in landscaping. I have my own business, so yeah, that's a lot of time. So.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, I understand that. Okay. So let me ask you this. So what's next for Daniel?
So I've been in the car industry, and we'll see. I mean, it's been good so far. 2 years, 10 months. So.
Yeah.
If I keep slinging cars, awesome. Or if I get promoted into a finance management position, awesome. But, I just take it day by day and go from there.
Understand. So let me ask you this. COVID hits.
Yeah.
How does that change the car industry? Because a lot of people who I know in the business, they're doing something else because COVID was just too much, or the dealership couldn't handle it, or it was a small dealership and, so much went on, man, just with everybody, not just the car business, but in every industry. So how did COVID change the car business?
So as far as like for myself,
for you as a salesperson, correct.
So for me, like I remember in April they were like doing like mandatory layoffs, and then I took a volunteer layoff and I went to go work on my house, and then in May just everything kind of picked up and they called me back because I volunteered, and they were like surprised, and I was like, well, I have some money saved up, I need to go work on my house anyways. I don't think this is gonna last a long time. And if it does, okay, but I'm sure I'd be one of the first ones you'd call back because
because of my numbers, absolutely, for sure, my productivity.
Exactly, for productivity. So I wasn't really worried about getting called back or not getting called back. So I wanted to go. I just did a whole bunch of home projects, and then after that they called me back in May, and the car business it just picked up like out of nowhere, like huge.
Oh wow,
like huge.
So it died off for a little bit. Well,
it died off for about like 2 months, and then it just picked up out of nowhere. Like it just coming in May, it was just like everyone wanted a car.
Them stimulus.
Yeah,
everyone was getting stimulated.
A little down payment. A little down payment. Right?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly. Everyone just came and we were slinging cars left and right. So
how many got repoed?
We surprisingly Honda doesn't. They don't. Isn't that they don't, but a lot of the credit customers we see are usually like 700, 600, 650 plus. We don't really get the lower credit scores. I mean, we don't mind getting them, but a lot of the people I deal with, especially on the new car side, it's usually around 650 plus. It's very rare that I see anybody else less than that. But I mean, even if I don't treat nobody differently if they have bad credit, get credit. I just treat people like human beings.
Hey,
see, that's why
Honda, you need to hook this man up with something. He just put y'all in the game.
Man, that's awesome, man.
Endorsement deal,
right? So, man, I just feel. So, let me ask you this: you started at. There's a couple of things that you just touched on. You talked about a house, so we're gonna talk about that later on. But what's the main difference between you started at Mitsubishi and now you're at Honda? What's the main difference between those two dealerships?
Yeah, so at Mitsubishi it was a lot tougher because and that's where I learned a lot of like the rougher, harder sales and like a grind mentality, because I mean we were selling wholesale cars.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we were selling wholesale cars. Like we were selling $2,000-$3,000 cars, like wholesale, like clunkers. Like it was not the greatest experience. I mean, there was a lot of good cars out there too, but there was a lot of wholesale pieces. So, man, I even sold, like I had a bet with my manager about selling a school bus, and I sold this old raggedy boat we had. I crashed the school bus into the fence.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so I'm
How does that happen?
So I'm trying to get so it's behind this fence. There's a school bus, and there's a little. I mean, it's a long. It's not one of the small ones. It's like a humongous one. A 40-passenger one. I mean,
wow, okay.
It's one of the big ones, where they pick up all the school. So I don't even know how they got this school bus. Somebody traded it in. So anyway, so I'm trying to sell it. Now I've been working on this. I've had like 60 people show up because I put it on Marketplace. I'm like, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be the guy that sells the school bus. Like to me, that's legendary. And the owner Mike, he even remembers that. He thinks it's hilarious. But yeah, so I'm trying to get the school bus out, and then there's a fence, and I don't see it. And where the service area is at is like it's pretty tough to get it out. So I literally like the pull went and scratched up the side.
Oh
of the
no!
Bus. Yeah. But I ended up selling it, and I sold it for what they wanted, what the dealership wanted for it, even though I had beat it up.
That's a rare item, though, bro. You know what I mean?
And then I had to drive it on the streets, man, which was like this thing had been turned on 3 years. And
Watch out.
We're over here driving it on the streets, and then the lady wants to test drive it, and I was like, is there a certain license you got to have? And Mike was like, we need to get rid of that school bus. And Calvin was like, we do whatever it takes to get rid of the school bus. It's been sitting there. We just need to get rid of it. So I go on a test drive with it. And there's no seats in there. I guess the previous owner was going to turn it into one of those, if you see like on Pinterest and stuff like that.
Like a house or something?
Like one of those houses.
Yeah.
So they're so it was all cleared out. So the lady's driving it. I'm on the stair steps. I'm just like,
no way.
You're doing whatever it takes to get that deal done. So you're just like, all right, you're just on the stair steps. Hopefully this lady doesn't run into somebody. And you have the tag hanging on the deal. Just you see it just flopping everywhere. And we're on the streets driving this school bus. So yeah, and then I ended up selling like this fishing boat too.
Hey, you guys were basically slinging whatever you could.
Yeah, well, whatever you could, you name it.
This dude sells cars,
as far as motor vehicles,
buses, boats. That's awesome, man. So then after that, you move over to Honda, and then what's like the first few differences you see in Honda?
So Honda, just their selling process is a lot different. Like you don't have to be like at Mitsubishi, you're just talking to people in their cars as they're driving by. So you're trying to get them to park and look at cars.
I got you.
Versus at Honda, they park their cars and they go out and look. So it's just a little bit of softer sale.
Yeah.
So it was just, and then from there, I knew I could sell a lot of cars there just because of the atmosphere, the way it's set up.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I used to have to go clean the cars myself.
Where at?
So after I sold a car, I would have to go clean it. So
you talking about at Mitsubishi?
At Mitsubishi.
Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
So you had to clean it out, detail it out yourself, put tires on. You had to do all that while the person's waiting to finance. And it was a little bit rougher credit. So it's like you're getting this car cleaned up and you don't even know if they can get approved for the car. So it was it was pretty, and there was times where you just cleaned the car and they couldn't get approved. And it was like that a lot. So it was just kind of, but you're trying to get the car cleaned and then you have another customer you're trying to help, it's just.
Man, that's a lot.
You know what that sounds like? Chick-fil-A versus McDonald's.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, for real.
Exactly.
Real talk. Wow. Okay. So the other dealership, it just sounds like Honda was just put together better.
Better
absolutely.
organization.
Man, so when you came over, because when I was at Honda, you didn't have to, and that's what I noticed too. Because where I came from, man, you sold the car. Man, you have to clean it and you have to get gas in it and like you said, man, when you're dealing with the car business, you're trying to get the next up. Like, man, I sold this. Let them handle that and then let me get somebody else, right?
Or do follow-up or something.
Yeah, do something. Man, that'll definitely teach you. And that'll teach you a lot of patience too. And that'll teach you how to be appreciative of the little bit of help that you had.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because when I was over at Honda, that's what I always appreciated. I'm like, man, I actually get help in this area.
Yeah.
Where I come from, it was like that. So, man, that's awesome. So let's talk about the house too, because you said that you own your own house?
Yeah.
Okay, because you said that you had to take some time off to fix up the house. What does that mean?
So I had to put in a fence and do some stuff on the inside. Like
Okay.
I got that.
Are you updating your house?
So yeah, it's a complete remodel. So from start to finish. So it's like,
Okay.
Okay.
So when my dad passed away, everyone got something and they had left me the house because it just needed so much work into it. Because
Gotcha.
I gutted it to the studs, even the outside. I mean, it was just all the way to the studs.
Oh,
so
wow.
like it was just like the bones of the house. So it has new siding, windows, roof, and even the roof, they had to replank the top of it. And even the inside, new framing.
So you spending some money.
Yeah. But it's
You spend a lot of money.
It's paid for, so that's the good
So when it's done, it's done.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
done.
I love his answer. It's paid for.
Hey, come on,
It's
man.
paid for.
Ownership,
That's what
baby.
I want to say for now. It's
Yeah,
paid for.
Ownership.
I like saying that.
That's
So
good,
it's
man.
nice.
That's good. So after the car business goes, I know you said you're doing it day by day, right? And I understand that. What do you want to do long term? Or do you know? You might not even know.
Yeah, I mean, long term, I'm just taking it day by day.
Yeah, okay.
And the car business has been great so far. So I know there's some promotions coming up at work, hopefully. So maybe go into finance, and if not, then I'll still be selling cars and just see what whatever happens.
I didn't know if he was trying to open up like Daniel's Autos or Daniel's Autos and boats and buses.
What movie is that from?
I don't even know. I really don't.
You don't want to know the one I'm thinking. I'm thinking about Janky Promotions.
Right. For sure, man. Nah, man, that's really all the questions that I have for you. Bakari, I don't know if you have anything for Daniel.
Yeah. One question I have is you say you don't know yet. So how am I trying to form this question? Give me a second.
Yeah, take
I'm
time.
having a slow moment. Okay, so you said you don't, you're going to keep slinging cars till some appear. How do you know when that something comes about?
Ooh.
That's a real good question. I mean, when an opportunity shows itself, if a better opportunity shows itself, and then I'm always looking for opportunity. So if something else shows itself, why not?
Would you be willing to leave something that you're secure in to something to go into something to be vulnerable, the unknown?
Just depending on what it is, Yeah. If it's something you think you can get behind, passionate about, I have mad respect for Angelo, because when this whole COVID thing happened, Angelo, so there's half the staff got laid off, and Angelo was one of them. But then Angelo just started, he was doing his music on the side. Not really on the side. He was doing that full time. So he had like 2 full-time jobs. He was working the car business, and then I remember Angelo would come to work sometimes like super tired. I was like, bro, like, why are you so tired? And he would just be, bro, I've been up since recording artist, doing this. And I was just like, so if you can find something you're passionate about, why not? And Angelo, the COVID, I think, was the best thing that ever happened to him, because
100%.
He like figured out, like, I can do this full time and I can kill it full time.
Yeah.
Like,
it's been great.
So it's been great for him. And when they called him back, he was just like, you know what, I'm actually good. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna pursue this. I'm gonna chase my dreams. And
but also the way that I left, I'm gonna just tell you guys a story real quick. What was relieving for me was when I spoke to Mr. Schofield, and I was in Mr. Schofield's office, and he told me, he's like, so what's going on? And I told him, and he smiled and gave me a hug, because what I told him was, I said, yeah, man, I don't think I'm coming back. As soon as I said that, his response was, if you're doing anything other than music, then we need to have a discussion. And I was like, okay, explain that. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, the car selling Angelo that I get isn't the same version of the music Angelo that I get. Like, when we talk music, like, you're all about it. When we talk cars, it's like, you know what I mean? So he's like, if you're doing anything other than that, then we need to have a discussion right now. And I was like, no, I'm going to do music full time. And he stood up from his desk and gave me a hug. And I was like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? And that to me was just like, I'm doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Because I know we have a lot of decisions we make in life, but when somebody who is at that level really like says, hey, man, I love that you're doing that. If you need anything, let me know. That's all I needed. Yeah, man.
Roger's a super cool guy, super laid back.
That's all I needed, and it was great, man. So, yeah, man, like you were saying, man, the car business has changed a lot. What's the process look like now?
So like right now we're taking orders like 2 months in advance. So it's not as much as it used to be. Like, all these people have these options, so
yeah.
Selling cars used to be a lot harder than what it is now. It's still tough, but it's not as hard as it once was.
I understand.
Because when I sold 40, I sold it when it was tough. Everyone had options. So you had Honda, Ford, Chevy, and everyone would go out, look at all these options. And then what we're seeing now is like Ford and Chevy customers, because a Ford customer, a lot of customers see like $10,000 off MSRP. Well, let's say this Ford Escape, which is comparable to CRV, the Escape equipped comparatively starts off $3,000 more than a CRV, right? So what you're seeing is people aren't getting discounts on the Fords anymore, making it more attractive than CRV, because they used to see like $7,000 discount.
Oh, gotcha.
And they're like, oh, it's cheaper than a CRV and it retails for more. Well, that's not the case. They just, they offer all these rebates to everyone. So is it really? So it's like it's kind of a game. But now that they don't have the inventory, they're like, if I'm going to pay that much, I might as well get a better car for a cheaper price.
So the playing field is kind of like evened out.
Yeah, the playing field has evened out. So it's easier. But it used to, like when I first started, like at Honda, it used to be a lot tougher. Like you were like making calls, you were cold calling, you were just trying to do whatever it took to put deals together,
Yeah.
And then like deals would last, like you'd have to do follow-up for like 2-3 months, and there was like follow-up sometimes I do for 6 months.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, hey, like, okay, if you wait 6 months, when you do wait that 6 months, you're gonna have to wait an additional 3 months on top of that. So just like cars.
So just like inventory wise, though, right?
Yeah.
So like let me just kind of run through the process. If I come in, right, I want a car. Am I buying stuff that I don't even, like, I know, but I haven't seen it yet?
So typically the process now is like we'll have some pre-owned ones that are very similar to the new ones. So
I got you.
We'll show them and we'll explain the differences between the new and the pre-owned one, but same body style, but the new ones get these updates or etc. And then you just.
So I got a question. What moment do you know that the sale is yours?
That's a very good question. Is usually when they say yes, but if you're talking about like how do you know they're gonna buy?
How you reel them in? Like what is your like when that old man put that dollar on the fishing pole and you just keep reeling in?
Yeah, come on, man.
Nah, you can just tell with some I mean, it's just reading body language, you know, if they like the car or not, and it's just being able to read people. I mean, that's what I'm really good at, being able to read people. And a lot of people are so timid because the car industry, especially the older people who are buying the newer cars, right? So back in the 80s, you know, you have all these, especially with leases. Like leases used to be an open-ended lease, and what an open-ended lease is. So you go into a car dealership and you're leasing a car. So you're leasing it for 3 years, and they're like, okay, yeah, you want a $200 payment? We'll get you that $200 payment. And this back in the 80s. So what would happen is they'd get that $200 payment, but at the end of their lease, there were, like, let's say the residual, which what the car was valued at, was $10,000. But they had put the residual in for you at $15,000. So you're on the hook for about $5,000. So it used to, you know, so it brought up all these. So you're on the hook for $5,000 back in the day, but nowadays they're closed leases. So closed leases, like you come in and whatever the resale value is, it is the value. Right. So you don't have to worry about getting hooked for $5,000. But like it just back in the day just brought all this negativity to the car industry, which were rightfully so, because so many people were just getting done dirty like that, you know, and not just with leases, with purchases and stuff like that. So many people have their walls, and you just, you know, if you're just real with people and you relate to them, and it's not, I feel like half the time I'm just kind of like a therapist, because there's so many people that just want to, you hear their life story, and a lot of people are like, man, Daniel, I actually like this car better, this brand better. And like Honda's a great brand, but some people will tell me, I like this, you know, I'm more digging this one. I'm like, hey, no hard feelings. I completely understand. And they'll text me the next day, hey man, like, you know what? Like, I went, but I didn't like the salesman. I'm cool with you. So like they'll be like, you know, I like having our conversations. And there'll be some people that come in for the service drive and like, hey Dan, I'm coming in this day. All right, cool. Is it okay if we have some coffee or something? So yeah,
just keeping that customer, building that relationship.
Just like being able to hear people, you know. So half the time it's just, you know, if you're real with people, Honda's a great brand, so it kind of sells itself. But what takes it to the next level is just being real with people, and not being a sleazy person, and not trying, you know, just hearing people out. And you know, you have 1 mile 2 years, so listen more, talk less.
Right. Come on, man. That's a rare thing that you get in the car industry, for real. Because I got played my first purchase, and I came back and caused hell.
Yeah, I mean,
I caused hell, bro. Like, I kicked the car, broke the window. Like, y'all better take it. Like, I don't care, take it back. But nah, I love that you explain that, because people have a lot of different experiences, especially for myself, you know, just being honest. You walk into a situation and you get looked at sometimes, and it's like, can he afford it? Should I treat him that way? You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's just funny, because it's like, hey, you just missed a sale. That's how I feel certain times.
Yeah, so like the biggest thing you'll learn in the car industry is you treat everyone with respect. You know, like I look at it as if my mom, my mom doesn't necessarily look like she can purchase. Yeah, I mean, like anything, but she can. You know.
Yeah.
And her English isn't that great. So I mean, if she would go in the store, I can only imagine like people like having those thoughts and you know, just thinking like, oh, can this lady even buy a car? So I always like, I never want somebody to feel that way, you know. So I always treat everyone with respect, you know. And you know, it's farmers are like the biggest ones. Like you see like farmers with like $1 million combines and stuff like that, and like they show up in their old, you know, 1990 Dodge Ram or Ford, you know, and it's like they have all these, you know, nice, like at the house they have the John Deere's, the nice, and then so they can buy whatever they want on the lot. but yet they coming in, you know, and their jeans are all ripped up, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, like, here's this humble guy who can buy whatever he wants on the lot.
Probably
like,
buy half the lot right now.
Yeah,
For real.
I'll take one of, you know, but so it's it kind of it teaches you a lesson, you know. I never had experienced that lesson, but I've seen like coworkers experience that lesson. They're like, yeah, and then you're like, yeah,
right. You could have had a great tip off that.
Come on, man.
Pass on it. But y'all just heard my boy too, so y'all know where to find him at. Y'all got a little input how he deal with his people, so you know, just go holler at my boy if you need a car.
Game up,
for
absolutely.
Real.
So, man, last point I want to touch on. You ready? Is your faith, and the reason why is because at the beginning of the conversation you said you go to New Spring. I've went to New Spring for a while, right? I loved it there, man. The Hoovers, you know what I'm saying? I loved them. How does that play in what you do?
So that's a very good question.
Because you deal with a lot of different people.
Yeah, and that a lot of that comes from Stephen. You know, Stephen, the way he treats everyone, treats people. And
shout out Stephen Bishop.
Yeah, big shout out to Stephen Bishop, phenomenal guy. But yeah, when I started getting, you know, some coaching from him, we talk more about spiritual and how to just stay sane in the car business, and not how to let it, you know, because you deal with a lot as far as like people, people, because they have bad experiences.
Right.
So they come into this dealership and they're automatically thinking you're that guy that did them bad the last time.
Right.
So they have this perception of you.
You already got the wall built.
Yeah.
There he goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Like you're a vulture or something,
right.
You know? Or like some dealerships, they have like 8 guys standing outside waiting to talk to somebody. And
That's real too.
Yeah, just
I got him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So because you got a lot of mentorship from Steven. What did he teach you?
Just how to be.
I want to give them some game, man. Like, what did he teach you?
So just how to be patient, how to talk to people, and how to, you know, really kind of like how to counsel. I mean, that's what it is, because half the time you're just kind of like a therapist. I mean, you're talking about the car and stuff like that, but then they start opening up to you about their kids and then their home situation. And I had people tell me, like, I just had sold a car the other day to a lady, and her husband had just recently passed away. So,
wow.
So like throughout the whole time, and she cried a couple times, and I felt bad, like, but I wasn't doing anything wrong. But it was just like, and I said, hey, you know, you don't have to buy a car today. I mean, this is, you know, it's a big purchase, you know, and, you know, I was just a therapist. She ended up buying the Pilot, but, you know, it's just more like, you know, treating people with respect, kindness, hearing their story. Because I mean, so sometimes it's just like, hey, showing the car and you're comparing different cars, and it is, you know, whatever the customer likes. But I feel like 75% of the time it's just building a relationship with the customer and just hearing their story, and just it's more about like hearing them out and just, you know, asking them questions, you know, how their life's going. Because a lot of people, they're always like just moving. They're always just doing something.
Yeah.
So they never slow down, and nobody really asks them like, hey, how are you doing today? Like genuinely ask them like, hey, how are you? And they're like, oh, I'm good.
Sounds like somebody I know.
So, because a lot of people just, you know, when you go to work, you're like, hey, what's up, man? How's your day going? Oh, I'm doing good.
Right.
And then that's it.
That's typical.
And it's like that,
sure.
that's the regular answer. Like, hey, how you doing today? And
right.
So it's like when you're showing a car, if you can get some deeper than that, it's like, hey, how's it going? You know, because those are just formalities.
Right.
You know, you start asking the right questions, and depending on, you know, what they're driving, and hey, what made you buy that car in the first place? And
right.
just hearing their background story, and then just progressing. And that's what Stephen really taught me, like more focus on the customer versus like the
actual product. Yeah.
So it's just more customer service. But you had asked me about, you know, my faith, and you know, it's crazy because I started off as a substitute teacher. Like that was like my first real job. Like I always like did other side hustles. But
did you have that in college?
Yeah. So when I was going to Wichita State, and then so tithing, you know, you asked about. So like I started tithing. Well, I've been tithing my whole life, but like actually from a legit job, you know.
Yeah.
And then I get into Mitsubishi, and I was making more money, and I started tithing, and I was like, man, like and then I went to Honda, and I started making more money, and I started, you know, my tithing kept increasing, and that was like another big part of it. You can't outgive God.
Come on, man.
Like that's that's something that a lot of people don't understand. It's like you can't, like when I sold the 40 cars, I was like, man, like I just got done selling 40 cars, and this is a huge, like to me it was, you know, and And I was like, I'll never like be able to replicate this again. And then I was able to do more than that, you know, like multiple times. So I just thought that like you can't outgive God. And I think a lot of people, when they start making like, you know, a decent income, they start putting God on kind of like the back burner. They're like, oh, does God really need this much, you know, money? Like, do I really need to give him? And it's not that he needs it or even wants it. You know, he doesn't. It's more about that discipline, that faith.
Come on, man.
So when you start giving it, and it's like, and in the Bible it says there's one area that you can test God in, and that's in your tithe.
Right.
And you can't outgive him. It's impossible. But as you start leveling up in life, you'll notice too, like when it's more money, it starts becoming a little bit harder for some people. Like for me, it was hard when I sold 40 cars, and like I had to try off that. Like I was like, this is the first time. But you know, as soon as I got it, I just went on. I was like, because it's so easy. You just get on the app and you just hit that button, and that's it. You're not like going to the bank and actually get the money and go into the bucket. So it was a lot easier for me in that aspect. But yeah, I think God would just say, okay, you're struggling with this, so let me take you back to the level where you weren't struggling at. And that's what a lot of people, you know, forget.
Come on.
That's powerful.
But not only that, man, I'm gonna break it down real quick what God spoke to me in this situation. He placed you in there to minister to souls, bro. Not just about selling cars, but hearing them out in ways that other people isn't. Because from that experience, you're touching them. Which I know you're bringing up God in those situations, and they feel God off of you, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be able to open up to that degree. That doesn't happen for everybody. They feel God's presence on you that allows it to go that direction. So for me, I'm just hearing how God works in that, bro. And it's just crazy because he took you through a situation of where he wanted you to learn the grind mentality. And then he put you into a proper organization of where you would excel at. He already knew that was going to happen. So from you having those experiences of dealing with jinkiness and people giving you hard times prepared you for this moment, for real, to the point of, like, you're saying the 40 cars, he's going to do that plus 10 with what he has for you in the future still, bro, because what you're doing each time you meet these people are touching them and leaving a part of you, which is God, in them that they're going to forever have. Because this is an experience that they ride away with for the rest of their life until they're done with those payments or whatever they're doing, where you're always that person that started that for them. So it's called planting the seed, and that's what you're doing. So don't just look at it as in, like, I love you saying humans, because Angelo say that all the time. I treat people like humans, you know. They want to be valued. They want to be respected. And my number one thing, that's why I learned, because this is my mentor. So for me, it's just like I'm hearing a lot of things that are great, and I want you to remember, like, even in that, bro, God is working on you with these souls that you touch, because we're disciples that's meant to go out. And when you go out to the car lot, believe it or not, you're touching souls, bro. You're still going out. You're getting different souls that's coming to you. So you can come with the mindset of, and this is how people miss out on their blessings. You're not missing out on your blessings because you're treating everybody the same. You're humble enough to see that. You know what I'm saying? You're growing wisdom, but you're not being foolish with it. You know what I'm saying? You're not being arrogant. You're not boasting. You're being still, like you said, God brings me back to ground zero every month.
Every month.
Just so you remember.
I know you're up there, but let me
bring you down. But for most people, they would fail at it. You feel me? They wouldn't look at it at a point of, oh, this is God testing me to trust him again. You know what I'm saying? Starting over again at the bottom. Every month he's doing this to me, but I know that he's there. I know he's going to not place the people that need it, but he's going to place that moment of where they need it at. You feel me? Because it may not change. Like you said, you may get it the next day when they text you, or maybe a week later, and you're just like, oh, I forgot about this person, but they didn't forget. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like God placed you there, which I feel like it's definitely not going to be forever, because I feel like he has, again, some bigger plan for you, bro. I don't know what it is, but I know it's something great. And when it does come, I'm going to say I said it.
That's tough. So y'all, man, shout out, man. Clap it up, man. Shout out to Daniel, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much, man. And man, thanks for hanging out with us, man. I really do appreciate it. If you need a vehicle, go to Honda in Wichita, Kansas. It's the only Honda dealership still.
Yep.
In Wichita, Kansas. Ask for Daniel Carlos, man, and let him go ahead and hook you up, bless you a little bit. You know what I'm saying, with what's going on. But man, that's all that we have for you, man. Another episode of Humble Talks in the books.
Yeah.
Any last words you need to say, Daniel?
Nothing, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem. Y'all tune in.
I'm one of the lucky few. Later on, he's gonna have some big players in here.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I will.
Yes, sir.
For sure, man. God willing. And like I always say, man, like and subscribe. Go ahead and share this with somebody. And also, if you want to know how to get a Humble Greatness hat, go ahead and look at the information below. Just humblegreatnessstudios@gmail.com. Send me a message, man, and I'll let you know how to get one.
Better get them while they cheap.
Holla at y'all. Y'all take care.
Yeah.